Hello and welcome to PPC Live, the podcast formerly known as PPC Chat Roundup. My name is Anu, the founder of PPC Live, and if you're used to hearing advice from PPC experts about how to ensure that we are keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. But instead of relaying what the PPC experts are saying, I'm bringing the PPC experts to you. Every week, I'm going to be speaking to a different PPC expert about an F-up they've made, but also how they've turned things around and, they continue to be the trusted marketer that they are today in our industry and amongst their clients. Today, I have the delight of bringing one of our PPC Live's ambassadors and multiple speakers, Inderpaul Rai, to talk about an effort that he's made several years ago and something that even affected his team and even how that, made for even a better experience for everyone involved and how there was a surprising response from different members. I don't want to spoil it there because I think it was a really great one. And the kind of things that you think that would happen, the responses that you think that will happen based on previous behaviors didn't happen and kind of the opposite happened. And we talk about, his experience with AI, his predictions as to how we use it, and some really great tips as well for managers, people who manage teams there. Oh, it was such a great chat. So yes, let's go and speak to Indi. Hello, Indi. How are you?
Hey there. Very well, thank you. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. I am so delighted. Like I unashamedly, India is one of my favorite people in our industry. Oh my God, India, I can't thank you enough, honestly, for all the support you've given PPC Live. And just before this call, India was telling me about how his team at We Discover, they've had an influx of graduates, and one of their main things is to bring them to a PPC Live event. Like that's those are the kind of people you need in your corner, not just what. So thank you, Indy, for all the support that you've given. So yeah, you guys might be like, Anu, you're talking to us about someone we have no idea who he is yet. So let's get to who Indy is all about. I call him Indy because we've been friends for quite a while, but you'll see him on LinkedIn as Inderpaul Rai. He's got over a decade of experience spanning ad tech, martech, multilingual paid search, SEO, analytics, social media. Yeah, no wonder he's a group account director at We Discover, right? He's like got a very wide and holistic approach to performance marketing, which I'm always banging on that it's so important. With what's affecting your channel is not just going to be your channel, like outdoor will affect it, TV will affect it, email will affect it. So knowing how they holistically work is how to become the best in our industry. He's spoken at many events, of course, PPC Live, but also HeroConf, Brighton SEO, the Marketing Meetup, Sheffield DM, and he's doing another one on October 29th. I remember that date specifically. Why? Because it's my birthday, so I'm going to miss it. I'm sorry.
Right.
So yeah, that is going to be in Edinburgh. Am I right?
That's right,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, there's a conference going on in Edinburgh, so check Indy's profile for that. Yeah, so he's got a wide range of expertise, of course, the platform, whether it's Google or Microsoft or, the tech tools like Acquisio, Marin Kenshu. So really, really great insights onto all the tech tools in our industry. Fun fact, I love this fun fact, and you will be getting a link about this. So he's shaking his head. Sorry, dude, we're gonna do this. You'll do it for me. For me, maybe no one else, but for me, sure you will. So Indy was actually in a previous life. You started a blog, a music blog, and you got your interest into digital advertising because you're like, how do we promote this blog? But more interestingly, before he became famous, Indy had the great opportunity of interviewing Ed Sheeran. Yeah, so don't run off to check that link out just yet. Wait until we had share out his great story, and then go check out that great interview with Ed Sheeran. I've not even seen it yet, so I'm very eager to go and check it out. Indy, welcome. Thank you for for bearing with that long intro.
Well,
But like, how did you actually get to Ed Sheeran's people to interview him?
yeah, so this was like 6 months before his debut album, and he had a mixtape that he was promoting, which he did with a load of grime artists. Our music blog was mostly focused on like hip hop and grime and that sort of scene, but it was about promoting artists that weren't famous yet. So yeah, his management reached out to say, "Oh, we've got this mixtape. Would you like to review it?" And then they liked the
Okay.
review. Said, "Oh, we're actually doing an interview run at the moment. Do you want
Okay.
to get involved?" And it's like, "Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely."
Wow.
We had no equipment whatsoever, so I borrowed a really dodgy camera from someone, and was, as I was saying to you before, it wasn't even HD quality. Like, it's very grainy footage. So I'm always a bit embarrassed to
Oh.
send people the links to it. But yeah, I will do after this.
Please do. I mean, it was a while ago. Those kind
It was
of
a very
things,
long
I
time.
think, yeah, really interesting to see of like, yeah, the stars before they became famous, so yeah, I'm very excited to see that. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into, like, the talk about paid search. We're not here to talk about music, unfortunately. That'll be another podcast. Yeah, we're here to talk about f-ups and triumphs and how we've turned that around. And yeah, I'm really grateful for people who come on this podcast and are unashamedly, open to share how they turn things around. Maybe one person, since I've been asking people to come on, has said, "Oh, I don't know, I'm not ready for that yet." Because, yeah, it's a bit of a everyone on the LinkedIn especially wants to go, "Oh yeah, made that target. We've closed that client. We've done that £1 million in revenue. CPA is the lowest it's ever been. It's all good, 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 good." Like, if that's how you gain success, and I'm sure Indy, that's really not. We thought before this call, I was talking about my imposter syndrome of still thinking, "What am I doing here? I should have been a bit more of a success. I've probably done XYZ wrong and, across my career," but still going, still have faith in yourself, and keep going, keep on going regardless of the pitfalls. So yes, let's take it over to you, Indy. What FF would you like to share with us today?
Oh, just to choose one is tough. I think the worst mistake I ever made on an account was back in just over 10 years ago now. Actually, it's probably about 11 years ago. I was managing a search team at an agency called Greenlight, and we managed activity for a client, probably one of our biggest clients, across Europe, APAC, US. But UK was their bread and butter in terms of performance. That's where most of the performance lied. But they were really keen to scale up in other markets.
Yeah.
And they were one of the first clients that we onboarded onto what's now known as Search Ads 360, but it was known as Double Click for Search back then.
Yep.
And we're always, like, throughout my career, I've always looked at automation and like data and where are the areas we can really like gain an advantage over other agencies and other advertisers who aren't utilizing these tools to the
Yeah.
fullest. So whenever SA360 would come out with a new feature, like straight away, I'd be like, "Yeah, get us on that beta. Let's try it out." And we were using, I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like an automated budget feature where it's like you give it a budget for the month
Yeah.
and it would automatically optimize the account in terms of budget spend, to make sure that you don't overspend on that amount, but also make sure you do spend that amount for the month.
Yeah.
We were trialing that versus the whatever the existing bid strategy we were using for the US, because they wanted to scale up in the US and they had some extra budget. They had some underspend. So like, okay, let's spend about 30K this month on the US versus what they'd usually spend, I don't know, let's say 3-4K. So huge
Mm.
scale up in spend to see what happens. That all went really well. There was no issues with that. Now it comes to the end of the month, bank holiday. So it's going into it's probably the end of August. It's probably the August bank holiday, which fell on
Right.
a weekend. Obviously, Monday being the bank holiday.
Yeah.
I was off on holiday as well for the 2 weeks. Wrote
Sure.
brilliant handover, all great. Thought everything was in hand with the team. And I get back probably at the end of that week or the beginning of the following week and find out that we had forgotten to switch that automation off. So it continued to spend like the account was going to spend 30K the following month.
Ooh.
And it basically blew more or less like the year spend for the US, what it would normally spend on that, like just that week alone, actually. So pretty big F
Yeah.
up for this client. They're not the sort of client that goes into the account every day to see what's going on.
Okay.
And they didn't have necessarily strict budgets as a business in terms of you can only spend X amount in this market. They had
Yeah.
like an overall pot of money and you kind of choose where to put the money where the
Okay.
performance is,
Yeah.
which is a blessing in disguise in
Yeah.
that. So yeah, obviously had to explain that to the client. You know,
Yeah.
it was a big mess up and there are reasons for it. And these are the things we're going to put in place to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, the way we kind of, they helped us brush it under the carpet as well
Okay.
internally. That's like, okay, we have underspend in other markets. We can eat this up, and we can just
Y-
say like we carried the test on for the next month, which is great. But historically, they were probably quite a difficult client in terms of like how on it
Mm,
they are in terms of like performance and all this sort of stuff. So I was quite surprised by their reaction.
mm,
I think they recognised it as an honest mistake. They recognised it's not something we often did. Like as I say, that's the one thing that comes to mind when people say, "What's the worst thing? What's the biggest mistake you've ever made?"
yeah.
That one always comes to mind just because of how
Yeah.
bad I felt afterwards.
Oh,
I'm so used to like having a tight lid on everything,
yeah.
and it's just one little thing that slipped the net whilst like hurrying up with my handover to go on holiday.
Yeah.
It caused a
Yeah.
big issue as a result of that, and yeah, my team were quite a junior team as well, so they're having to deal with that while I was away and waiting for me to come back
Oh my
to try and
gosh.
clean it up as
Okay.
well. So
Okay.
yeah, pretty
Okay.
horrible situation for the team in general, but
Oh
live and
gosh,
you learn.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. You live and you learn. It's really important. Those handover notes, those like making sure you're not rushing in those few days, which is easy, can be easy to do, unfortunately, because you're like, oh, your brain is just on the beach already. You're like, okay, let's quickly just get through this so that you could, get out of there. Um and like and you've even answered several of the questions, and I really love that. But like just a few things I wanna point out and pick out is like, so one of the members in your team was the ones that picked up on it.
Yeah,
They all saw the spend. So good team. On one end, they were stressed, so it wasn't the client. It didn't
no.
wait till the client. They were the ones and what was like. I mean, you said poor. They're like, was that feeling in terms of like they've just seen something that was not the right thing? Did they know straight away this is not what should have been done?
They knew straight away something was wrong because of the amount of spend that was going through. They didn't really necessarily know why it happened because
Ah,
they
yeah.
weren't as familiar with the automation as I was. So
Yeah, yeah,
I can't remember exactly if it got resolved before I came back or if it was when I got back, switched it off. But
yeah,
it would have taken them some time to try and understand actually why is it spending so much compared
yeah,
to what
yeah.
it should have been.
So what actually happened was that, the automation had been setting it to do to spend like a certain amount, and it should have been turned off.
Yeah.
Is that right? At some
Yeah.
point, but it wasn't, and it like kept on
Yeah,
spending.
as the month changed over to the new month, it should have been either switched off or the budget drastically reduced down to what the new budget should have been. But the team weren't. They didn't even know where this feature was in SA360. It being a beta,
Uh,
they were just using their standard Excel budget trackers at the time and then like manually changing campaign budgets in the account, and then this piece of automation was overriding their changes and all sorts. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. So would you say that most of that error was down to the handover
yeah.
kind of thing, or could there have been more skill set in that should have been available, like for the team, or let's say platform being a bit easier to use
Yeah,
to
no, I wouldn't blame the platform for this. I'd say it's
uh,
two things. One is it should have been the handover to say, make sure you change this budget or turn this off
yeah,
while I'm away on this date. And even better still, a calendar reminder about it because people can forget.
yeah,
And then secondly, like reflecting back, I probably at that time, especially being like I'd only been a manager for not even a year at that point,
mm,
um, probably did too much myself a lot of the time and didn't bring
right,
other people on along the journey with me. So like when it comes to things like automation, just because I was very passionate about it, I always get involved in it. But you know, if I was to do that now, I wouldn't even execute on that myself. I would always make
sure,
sure that whoever is the most appropriate person, like the lead for the account, essentially, is like, this is what we're going to work on together. And I
yes,
think this is a really good idea. You might disagree, and if you disagree, we can talk about that and
yeah,
do something else. But have an agreed plan of what we're doing, what we're testing, and they're the ones responsible for it. They're going to action on it, and then you've got two pairs of eyes on the thing that's happening rather than just one person. And it's like
yeah,
single point of failure and all that sort of stuff. So
mm,
yeah,
yeah.
they're the two things I'd do differently for sure. Going
For
back,
sure. I delegating tasks is such a pain. I feel it. I'm so bad at it. I recently hired like a virtual assistant, and she's doing great. But like our first week, I kept on like looking at everything, and sometimes she'd be like, Anu, you're in the same Canva templates I'm in right now. Get out. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Because it's just, sometimes I'm like, oh, she's not done that bit yet. And she's not, and it's always
Yeah, yeah.
yet, because you're just like, oh, patient. And I'm like, she will get to it. She never misses any deadline. And so I'm like, Anu, just be calm. It can be hard to like release and control, especially like, yeah, with the automation side of things. Cause sometimes, yeah, and I think that bit is important to really understand how things work, because we tend to do the whole, oh, let's just throw everything to automation. We'll get to that part of the conversations because yeah, definitely. So let me not preempt that, because I love getting guests' opinion as to what we're getting wrong in terms of how we use AI on automation. You've done some great talks about this at BBC Live. So yeah, it's actually still our most viewed video of
Okay.
BBC Live video, your talk on AI.
Wow.
So yeah,
think
it's a popular one and people should still be watching that. So after
I'd,
this
I'd
episode,
actually be interested to rewatch that because AI
yeah,
had only been around for like not even 6 months when I did that talk. So
right.
a lot has changed since then as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could see
true.
if I hit the mark or completely missed the mark on some of my predictions.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly, right? It'll be interesting to know. And it'll be interesting now to hear what your predictions might be differently to that. Anyway, we'll get to that. So going back to, our interesting story about overspend, something also caught my attention that was very interesting. The client were on your side, they actually helped you,
Yeah.
cover that up. Now, talk talk to what kind of relationship you guys had, and you were surprised by that
I
even?
was surprised by it because they were a very difficult client
Oh,
from the very beginning. And the reason why things were so difficult at the beginning was when we won the pitch, none of the people working on their accounts were involved in the pitching process.
oh god.
And the classics, so many things got promised to them that were just not even possible, or certainly not possible in the timescales that were said.
Yeah, yeah,
And so straight off the bat, we were just completely like on the back foot. Like we
yeah,
had to restructure 10 different markets
yeah.
just to a scag structure from something that was,
Ooh,
and it
yeah,
had to be done by a certain date because, holiday season, all that sort of stuff, and to the
yeah,
promotions
yeah,
and everything. And then we were just like struggling to hit deadlines straight away. So
yeah,
things were quite difficult. And it was quite a nervous client in the sense that this is such a big change. And they're kind of like, they're the ones that are on the line for it internally, right?
yeah,
As a business. And they're the ones that are going to get the pressure internally about why things not being done and why is
yeah,
performance this way and that way and all that sort of stuff. So they
yeah,
naturally they would put that pressure onto the agency. So
yes.
having been client side, I've seen the other side of it as well. Whereas at the time, probably couldn't empathize with their
Mm,
situation. So I was just
mm,
like, oh, this horrible client, blah blah blah. It was not necessarily the case. So I
yeah,
think when this happened and actually we worked together to figure it out and make sure things like that don't happen again, surprised me. Whereas I thought they would just throw us under the bus and
mm,
it's look really bad, like
mm,
to the business. But no, I guess it just shows that they did rate us and enjoyed working with us and
yeah,
all the value in working with us. Like if had they thrown us under the bus, they might have fired us just for that one mistake, right? Or
yeah,
certainly as a business, they'd have lost confidence in us as an agency. It
yeah,
was such
yeah,
a big overspend for
yeah,
them. So yeah, it just
yeah,
shows that the partnership was valued on their side. Hence, they're
absolutely,
willing to
yeah.
like work together to make sure that it didn't cause any longer term issues with the partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah, it's another big lesson of no, even if you're on the back foot, it's still important to try hard. And even though that they might not respond, it just look like they're responding to it. They are, and because everyone knows that people are human beings, and with agency life and when you just said that whole the people that they promised weren't who that I was just like, I know, been there, done
We've
that. I have
all been through that.
we've been in that agency and it's you're seeing as they're putting the page together and you're like, the person you've put there has already handed in their notice. They're literally not even going to be in the company in 2 weeks. What are you doing? I'm not gonna name any names of people who have done this or we have seen this, but yeah, agencies, if you're listening to this, please stop doing that. That doesn't work well for your team. But yeah, it's really good to have like a team who didn't get frustrated by all the because obviously you'll have had your team really going, look, it wasn't our fault, but we're trying our best kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
And
you
to be
got
fair, it might have gone differently had they spotted it and then asked us
sure.
what's going on and we didn't know. If it had been
Yeah.
that way around, it would have probably been 10 times worse, to be honest
As
with you.
well. Yeah. Yeah. So another good point that it was the team that found it, that communicated about it. Did they call you on your holiday? Did they like let you know? Did they wait for you to come back?
I don't remember, so I assume not, because I feel like
Yeah.
I'll remember something like that. Like, I think
Yeah.
I remember seeing a message about that, so I
Right.
don't think they
Right.
did, and they waited for me to come back.
That's kind. That's a very kind team. It sounds like a fantastic team. Whoever were in that team, they did a great job. I think that's a lesson not just about what you did, but when you're in a team where your manager has, did not go through the right steps, you know, communicate to who's around, communicate to the client so that the client knows and not doesn't panic, even if you're not sure what the plan should be, tell them how your plan to get the plan of
Yeah,
what should happen. Of like, look, our manager's on holiday. We will try to do this, start a process on what your basic knowledge is. Basic knowledge can also be very effective knowledge. So bring that to the table. Don't underestimate what you can bring to the table. Um, so let's say someone is going through this issue right now. They've done that automation. They've just come back from holiday. They seem that their team is in a panic. What's your advice to them?
it's a good question. It's as you know, I'm naturally a very chill person, so
Yes.
even in that situation, even though internally I was probably like crying and panicking, I probably didn't show it externally, and I think that's really important, especially when you're a leader in a team and things are going bad. Like, it's
Yeah.
important you don't panic, because everyone panics then. Because if you
Yeah.
see people above you panicking, that's the first thing you think, oh, this is like DEFCON 5
Yeah.
issue. And it was a big issue, but it's important to like not focus on the mistake itself, but focus
Yeah.
on, as you said, what is the plan to resolve this? What is the communication plan? What is the resolve? How do we make this better? How do we fix it? And then how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? And how does
Yeah.
the client know for sure like this isn't going to happen again?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's definitely a balancing act between being chilled out about something and showing that you care. So it's like, it's not
Yeah.
like don't show that you don't care. Obviously,
Yeah.
I cared and people knew that.
Yeah.
But it's just how you like make it a priority to fix it and
Yeah.
show people that you care
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
whilst not panicking and running around crying.
Yeah. So it's like be now even more consistent than ever on the communications,
Yeah,
but don't necessarily put like, all caps in every email and exclamation marks in every email and start threatening people, emails. Let's get to the point of like, okay, what's the solution, guys? Are we on top of it? So last question to round off this story. What is like, would you say now is the process that you do differently? That's now that you would say based that mistake taught you and to making sure that you'll never do that again.
probably a few different things. I think kind of what I spoke about before, but making sure that like not all the information is just in my head.
Yeah.
I get carried away by certain things, certain projects, and I will
Mhm.
go at a million miles an hour. And then because all that information's in my head, if the handover is not 100% perfect, things are going to fall by the wayside. And you hope
Yeah.
the things that do fall by the wayside are things that are not that important, but
Yeah.
sometimes they are important. And as this mistake was big evidence for that. So one is making sure that that information is available widely. People are involved. Even if they're not actively working on something, they know what's going on. So that communication internally is super important.
Mm.
Um, the other thing is like, I mean, this was, as I say, it was like 10, 11 years ago. So I don't remember the exact details behind why that wasn't in the handover. But I imagine, to your point, like I imagine I was super busy trying to get everything in order across all the different clients. And only seeing all my responsibilities in one handover,
Yeah.
probably left it to the last minute, as most people do. And I still do to this day. Um, and yeah, as I say, you want to make sure the things you forget to put into that handover and the stuff that it doesn't matter if it doesn't happen, but like the key things, the key important things that if they get missed, it's going to cause a big issue. Like you need to make sure you have the time and headspace
Yeah.
to make that scene like with the people that are there covering for you. So
Yeah.
they're the two biggest things. I wouldn't have changed anything about like the test itself. Like the test was a
Okay.
great thing to do, even if it worked, even if it didn't. They're the sort of things that can make that difference between like
Yeah.
just showing growth and growing clients. I think if you're not utilizing data and all the different tools, you're just doing the same thing day in, day
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You're only going down from a performance perspective. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything about that. But yeah, certainly in terms of making sure the team were fully aware of what we were doing and what we were trying to
Yeah.
do, and that handover piece as well, also important.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I think two of my like my favorite lessons from that story is definitely when dealing with like automation, just make sure you do detail what the automation should be because hey,
Yeah,
we're in the world of automation. There's gonna be some kind of automation in the account now these days, even if you're the one that manually put it or you didn't put it. So,
yeah,
look,
exactly.
yeah,
And
look
put
out
in the
for that.
daily check. Like for example, as I said before, they had their own budget checkers that had nothing to do with this piece of automation,
Yeah.
and just because you look at one doesn't wouldn't show you what's going on with the other. So making sure
Yeah.
they're aware of that to check this other thing area of the platform as
Yeah.
well as part of the daily checks
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been an issue
Yeah.
if I'd made that clear. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And also, a red flag client might not be a red flag client because at some point it looked like they were really difficult. It looked like it was an uphill battle with this
yeah,
kind of client. And then, from the hard work your team had put in, they actually decided to be on your side. So yeah, when it comes to errors, don't necessarily look at what the client is like and make you panic and think to myself, oh God, that's it. We're going to lose this client because they've been difficult. That actually turn things around. I love these kind of stories. You never know what actually kind of client is going to be the one that's difficult because several of my previous guests as well have talked about red flags to get from clients, the clients that can be difficult, the clients that, just don't want to share their data. They don't want to do this.
right.
So yeah, it's very, very interesting. Thank you so much for that, Indy. We are now going to steer a little bit away from talking about, your experience that hopefully wasn't too painful to recount. Now going to like some of the errors that you see being like, and account director, you see going to several events. You must have heard like different ways that people are like testing AI that you might not agree with, or you just think, oh Lord, guys, that's not what AI is for. Yeah, so do you have any examples of any F-ups that you've seen people make when it comes to, like, automation and AI?
Um, not necessarily like big f ups or anything like that, but like it really, really gets to me when people just put in like a really basic prompt and expect it to be what comes out of it, like the complete answer to what they're trying to do. Like
Yeah,
that's just not going to work. And
yeah,
if you live by that, and you see it sometimes in the work that people do, is just like, yeah, that's ChatGPT wrote that, or
yeah,
Gemini wrote that, or like, what do you think?
yeah,
I think, right? So yeah, I think people, in terms of the day to day usage, people should use it as an assistant, not as a it's doing my work for me. And I
yeah,
think people still today are still probably veering towards the doing the work for me, more so than as an assistant. So that's probably the biggest mistake I see with it.
yeah,
Um, the other part of it, more on a sort of advanced and technical level, is kind of like the use cases for AI on certain projects where, for instance, we in a previous job of mine, we were using AI to rewrite product descriptions on a website for
okay,
products. Like we're a comparison website for products. So we were bringing information from all the different retailers, but the information they gave us was pretty crap.
yeah,
So I was like, a great use case for you. This is probably about 2 years ago, but great use case for AI initially. It was like, okay, maybe this could rewrite all the product descriptions for us and it'll help this issue that we're having.
yeah,
And then through a lot of the testing that we were doing, and we were quite rigorous with the testing because we were a bit skeptical about whether AI would be the answer for it or not.
mm,
Um, it would rewrite tens of thousands of products in its descriptions, and it would be like 90% for every product, the same thing in terms of what it was
oh,
saying, with slight
okay,
differences,
oh,
using the same words like elevate your whatever, and
yeah,
all the classic ChatGPT words that you see.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is this
yeah,
really gonna?
ugh,
Is this really a better experience than what we were doing before? And
yeah,
probably not. And the testing
yeah,
showed that it wasn't. So
yeah,
yeah, not blindly trusting, even in the more advanced use cases, not blindly trusting what you're getting back from AI.
yeah,
Rigorously testing it. Like you probably expect about 80% of it to be valuable, and there's probably about 20% of it not. And that 20% actually could be a bigger issue than you realize,
yeah,
particularly when it comes to hallucinations and
yeah,
things like that. So yeah,
yeah.
that's still definitely a concern of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like something that someone said about like AI that I was like, that is bang on, is that you should know what the correct answer is. Like,
Yes.
sure, like AI should do the heavy lifting, but if you can't just be like, oh, AI, grab me some information from somewhere that you don't know what the answer should be, and then you just look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna use that because someone will call you out on that.
It's
Someone more
interesting.
intelligent will be like,
Yeah.
totally, totally wrong, totally wrong. We should not
Yeah,
be doing what
and
you said, and it's yeah,
to be honest, you probably see it yourself, right? And when it's a subject you know a lot about and you use
Mhm.
AI, you're actually, well, actually, this is pretty crap
Yes,
answer. But if something you
yes.
don't know and you see the answer in AI, like, oh wow, this is amazing. This has told me everything I need to know about the thing, and you become overly confident. Because actually, if you're
Yes.
a subject matter expert, you can pick the holes.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, it's a really good point. Especially when you don't know what the subject matter is, don't
Yeah.
blindly do your research on top of what AI is giving back to you as well, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. Um, okay, now going on to like let's talking about why it's important for us to talk about, like F ups and mistakes, because I think it was at the beginning or maybe when we were chatting there about how like nobody really talks about their mistakes and things that have gone wrong. And I really love like your the story that you shared there because it involved not just you, it involved the team, it involved the client, and and everybody really trying to work together to turn that around. So, what would you say? Why is it important for us to actually talk about when things have gone wrong?
It's important because you don't necessarily, until things go wrong, you don't know necessarily what to do in that
Mm,
situation. So actually going through that experience and then understanding what went well. Sorry if you had that. Yeah, going through that experience and understanding what went well in the response and what didn't, what could have landed better. That type of experience shapes you for the next time something happens. Like no
yeah,
one has a flawless career in what you
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Not as a team where someone's flawless.
yeah,
Everyone's gonna make mistakes at some point. You just hope that the processes you have in place ensure that the mistakes that happen are more on a smaller scale than the one I had.
yeah,
And you learn from it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's like you only learn from the experience, and you learn how to respond to something, and you learn
yeah,
to be better from that.
yeah.
Yeah, if you go through, it's a cliche, but if you go through your life without making a mistake, it's
Have you
actually
done anything? Yeah.
a bad
For me,
thing.
I'm
Even if that was true and that was possible, it's a bad thing because then you don't actually
yeah,
have the experience to deal with a setback
yeah.
at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's the whole, that's why parents should say no to their kids often because the world will, and you've got to prepare them for when the world does, so
Yes.
that so
Yeah.
that they are like, okay, I know what to do. I know what to do now. I've not gotten what I wanted, out
Yeah.
of this
Having
situation. Yeah.
having a 6-year-old definitely brings that more to life. Like he's great and he's got a bundle of energy, but like me and my wife are definitely a double act in terms of where she's very overprotective about what he does and
Oh,
doesn't do, and whereas I'm like, just let him do it and if,
you'll
let him
find out.
experience like fight around and
You'll
find
find
out type
out.
situations like that.
Oh,
You
God.
hope like obviously you make sure he doesn't break his arm jumping
No.
off like a big
Yeah.
tall wall or something like that, but
Yeah.
like you protect against that. But like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if he's just walking across a little, I don't know, bench, like fine, let him do that. It's fine. Just
Yeah, let
see
him
what
let him
happens.
figure and under your watchful eye, at least. Like, it's better
Exactly.
for him to
Yeah.
do it in
Yeah.
that environment while you're aware than he does it where in the world where, yeah, people won't care as much. Because yeah, that is the fact of life. And also one thing I also very much about your stories about that whole that point that you made from managers, don't come in, don't panic. Like, is that, would you say that that is something you'd already instilled, with your team? Because could they, what, did they have like an overrated kind of level of panic when you feel like, or was it just about the right of amount where they're like, okay, they know that you're back and things will be sorted out? Like, how do you, as a manager, ensure your team don't overreact when something's gone wrong?
It's a good question. I think, yeah, I think it's, as I say, like, as long as your own response is very calm and measured and you just stick to the facts, like, forget about the emotion of the situation. Like, we all feel bad about what's going on here and we
Yeah.
all want to do a good job and we're all trying to do a good job. So it's
Yeah.
okay, how do we make it better? Just be really clear, very, very clear in terms of, okay, this is what's happened. I might not have all the information coming back from holiday. So asking the right questions, like, what have you guys looked into so far? Have you done this? Have you done that? Um, yeah, and then just helping them put, if they haven't already put a plan in place, helping them formulate that plan
Yeah.
and like reassuring them. It's like, it's not the end of the world. It's I mean, it was my mistake to begin with anyway. So it's like, if it was the end of the world for anybody, it would be for me, not
Yeah.
for you guys. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's a very great way to, I feel, to come in with the team, because I think what one bad I would say pattern that I saw in several agencies is that something goes wrong. There's a blame game that starts, and it might, even the person might who might actually be the one who did the error starts going, "Oh well, if you hadn't done that, or if you had reminded me of this," and you're like, "Guys, fix the issue.
it
Let's
doesn't
just
matter. It doesn't matter. Just fix it. Fix the issue.
just let's
Exactly.
come
Fix the issue.
together and fix the issue. Have the plan, communicate, and fix the
Exactly.
issue." So
Make
yeah,
make sure it doesn't
yeah.
happen again. Simple as that, really.
Make sure it doesn't happen again. So we've come nearing to the end of this fantastic chat. But before we go, I like leaving people off with like one of my favorite questions to ask. If your PPC career were a movie, what would the title be?
Um, as in, what movie would it be, or what title would I make up? Or no?
Either. Either. If you're thinking, someone has come with me and say like The Breakfast Club, The Matrix, or someone has come with me, the crossover from coaching to
Uh,
clicks kind of thing. Dave Alexander did that good one. So it can
no,
be a
nice.
brand new title, or it can be like one of your favorite movies that you feel that movie really relates to how your career has gone along the way.
I think the movie that most relates to my career, and a lot of what we talked about today, is probably Rocky, I would say. So
Oh,
Rocky is one of my
okay.
favorite films, and just like, yeah, all of them essentially. But
Okay.
there's a brilliant quote in, I can't remember which one it is. I think it's one of the later ones, but it's not about how hard you can hit; it's how hard you get hit and
Yeah.
you get
And
up and
come back.
forward. It's so true in life, and it's so true in our careers as
Yeah.
well. It's like we, as you said about imposter syndrome, I'm not X, Y, and Z in my point. We all feel that way. Like, I don't feel like I've achieved anywhere near as much as I should have by now.
Mm,
Um, but I think about all the setbacks I've had when I started my career, during my career,
yeah.
setbacks I still have weekly,
Yeah.
and I think about how I respond to it and how does it make me better,
Yeah.
and can I be proud of the way I've reacted to things
That's
and
with
the
it.
way I've improved? And I'll say yes, and I think that's all we can do, really.
Amazing. I think that's a perfect way to leave things off. Don't be bogged down on where you think you should be. Just how are you moving ahead? Are you moving ahead? And one thing I also I would say is like keep track of all the positives. Like don't forget the wins you had, because it happened 2 years ago doesn't mean that you don't go back to it and be like, actually, I did something great then. I did something great and I'm still doing something great. So keep remembering the wins. I know like as human beings, we tend to remember more about where we've gone wrong and the mistakes and oh that
Yeah,
person that annoyed us. Try to keep a record of it, like a record of it, put it in a folder, put it somewhere so you can easily access. I think that's really, really important for us and our imposter syndrome and working in digital advertising where everything is changing and everybody just thinks, oh, AI will fix everything, and you're like, no. And it's a fight with sometimes not just your clients but with other advertisers. You're like, no. So yeah, no, I think that's a great way to leave things off. And where online can people find you, Amy?
yeah. You can find me mostly on LinkedIn, I'd say. So yeah, just search for Adegbola Rai, and I'll be on there. I am still on X, but very much
Okay.
more of a lurker than an active participant these days,
Yeah.
as many people are. So, but yeah, I'd say LinkedIn probably the
Yeah.
best place to reach me. Or
Amazing.
at PPC Live is
Happy PC
on.
Live! Yes, October 22nd. I don't usually do this. October 22nd is our next event. Yeah, you'll be able to see Indi in person. And I love that the last one, you won a bottle of champagne. I love that. And he gave it to his client. Isn't he so kind?
I tried to. They gave it back to me. They wouldn't let me give it
No?
to them. So, yeah. I ended up taking it in the end. But yeah, I do love a Kahoot quiz.
Yeah, yeah, it
Love
was a really good one that Aisha did. That was really lovely. And also give you an opportunity, tell us more about the talk that you're going to do in Edinburgh.
Yeah, sure. So I've actually got two talks coming up. So I've got one in Berlin, SMX, at
Nice.
beginning of October / end of this month. I'm doing a very similar talk for both of them. Um, Basically, I'm going to be talking about how you can use data to better inform what you're doing in PMAX,
Mm,
essentially.
yeah.
So, how you can predict certain products performing better than others, not
Yeah.
just based on like Google Ads performance, but based on business data and
Yes.
what's actually making money for the business
Yeah.
versus auction dynamics versus competitors, all that sort of stuff. Like how
Yeah.
you can, especially for businesses that have huge product feeds, as we were
Mm,
talking about before this podcast,
yeah.
really important that you know exactly where to put the money behind, because you can't
Mm-hmm.
spend huge amounts of money across all 800,000 products for
Oh,
sure. So you need
no.
that almost like business intelligence
Yeah.
outside of what you can see in Google Ads to supercharge it. So my talk's going to be about that. And the one in Edinburgh at the end of October is a new conference in Edinburgh. It's going to
Mm,
be really big deal. I think it's like a whole day full of very, very good speakers. Some I've seen before, some I haven't. But yeah, it'll be looking like it's going to be the biggest event for PPC and paid search and performance marketing in Scotland. So
nice.
by all means, get tickets. I'll be promoting on LinkedIn across
Yeah.
the next few weeks as well. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Amazing. Amazing. So if you're around Scotland around the end of October, please don't miss it. Go check it out. I can honestly say that from firsthand experience. Indy is one of those that gives very practical advice, that advice that just makes sense. And, and yeah, when talking about how to use data in PMAX, we'll never run out of be tired of, hearing about what needs to be done. That's always changing, especially with all the new updates we got recently this year. So yeah, new things to be learning there. Anyway, on that note, thank you so much, Indy, for joining us on this episode. And yeah, hope to catch you soon.
Great. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Indy, for that fantastic story and relaying to us how yeah, we can be still surprised even by clients that might seem like they do not want us to succeed or that they're aware with a client you start off on such a back footing. So yeah, such a great story to hear about how it's still just important to keep up with the hard work. Don't let the situations or how a client's bad mood, make you feel like, yeah, you shouldn't put in the work because then a mistake could happen and they could actually be your best allies in the situation. So yeah, I hope you get some good clients and good client relationships like Indy had with his team and their client. So yeah, for full details and the link to his Ed Sheeran interview, please go to podcast.ppc.live. And yeah, you get full details of the transcripts and show notes all on there. Yeah, PPC Live event update. We've got yeah, rounding up now. We're in October. Or we just in October, just entering. I'm about to enter October. I'm excited for October because it's my birthday month. So yeah, go to podcast.ppc.live, but also go to ppc.live for our the next event, October 22nd, which is coming up very soon. Yeah, early bird ticket sales have ended by now, but yeah, you definitely don't still want to spend that £45 to ensure that you join this amazing chat. Before I leave you, I'm delighted to share that I am taking on coaching clients. Yeah, the marketing, if you go to the marketing.anu.com to see what you can get so that we can chat about the obstacles you're coming across in your industry. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. And I look forward to bringing more PPC F-ups and triumphs next week. Thank you. Bye.